next guest you can see roaming the sidelines of Madison Square Garden, but no, he is not the head coach. He is a filmmaker. Second season of Little Joint series kicks off this week with 2 Fists Up. We welcome Spike Lee to the desk. How are we doing?
How you doing? How is everybody?
Welcome.
We're good.
Why are you making that face? Why
Skip Bayless, Molly, we're not going to get into this much. All I'm going to say to you is this. It's real easy for the Knicks to sit up there and completely and perpetually disgust its fan base when the #1 Knicks fan in the universe, Spike Lee, continues to pay those exorbitant courtside seat prices and will wear his orange and blue and will not waver in his support one bit and will never hold them accountable. It's real easy for the New York Knicks to treat us the way that they treat us because they know they have him supporting them.
So
and that's all they need.
Are you suggesting he should boycott?
Yes!
Yes.
Yes!
And Mr.
Yes.
Lee.
He's been saying that for a long time.
Yeah.
But
Yes,
today,
he knows it.
But today, let's chill a little bit for today.
I will.
There's a press conference at 12 noon
Right.
to announce the new coach of the Orange and Blue, my brother.
Goodness. Oh, my goodness. Oh, this is what he does to me all the time, Skip.
Yeah.
He's always laughing at me with this stuff, man. Go ahead, y'all.
Just
Go
breathe.
ahead.
Before we get into all the basketball, I want to talk about your new short film, 2 Fists Up. Please tell us about it.
It's called 2 Fists Up, and it's about the uprising that took place at the University of Missouri, which is really spurred by what happened in the uprising in Ferguson and the Black Lives Movement, where a young student, a grad student, Jonathan Butler, went on a hunger strike for 7 days until the then president, Tim Wolfe, he actually said, unless Tim Wolfe resigns, gets fired, I'm going to starve myself to death because of the racist climate on that campus was gone on for years. And a lot of people don't notice that a lot of this was led by the African-American women students there. And very late in the day, the football team comes in and they're saying, we're not playing. The next game was against Brigham Young, not at Columbia, but at Kansas City, where the Chiefs play, Arrowhead Stadium. Brigham Young, they're gonna have to write $1 million check. And the board of directors, it's not called the board of directors, board of something.
Regents, maybe?
Yeah, something like that. They got together, and President Wolf was out of there. And it came, you know, a lot of times it comes down to the bottom line. The bottom line, and it showed the power of athletes. And I know someone who's an AD at a D1 school, and he said this had reverberations all across college football. If you look at the, you know, if you look at the two revenue-producing sports, basketball and football, a large part of the student athletes out there are brothers. Not to say that there were white football students on Missouri who were in with them along with the coach. But it was a very powerful move, and it had reverberations across college campuses across the United States of America. Students, this past year, students were in uproar of what they see the injustice going on you know, where they get educated. Yes?
Spike, tell me this. Knowing what you know about it, you know, doing this, you know, this documentary on it, talk to me about what you got from that as it pertains to the modern day athlete. What is something that you think we all can learn from it, but especially the modern day athlete, whether it be collegiate or professional?
Well, I would say this, there's this misguided thinking that these young athletes don't care. That is wrong. These guys got together and said, we are not playing any more football. They said, we have to make Jonathan Butler eat. In order for Jonathan Butler to eat, this president has to go. And that's a very bold statement. This is the reason why I'm wearing, you know, today, John Carlos Tommy Smith. So there is a history of sports. Jack Johnson, Joe Louis, Jesse Owens, Muhammad Ali. I mean, where sports has affected society, and I say for the good.
Okay, while we're going deep, let's stay deep.
Right.
You made a movie last year.
Chirac.
Chirac. that was based on gun violence, city of Chicago.
Yes.
Just over the Memorial Day weekend, 69 more shot in the city of Chicago, 6 dead.
Thank you, Skip.
Your thoughts on explain this to us, put it in some perspective for us.
Well, number one, 91 Americans die every day in the United States of America due to gun violence. And the reason why I made this film, I want to bring spotlight to what's happening in the city of Chicago. Because a lot of people there think that the world doesn't care. So with the combination of these young black men growing up with no hope, bad education, and a whole bunch of societal issues, and proliferance of guns. Chicago, the city has a very tight gun law, but they go 10 minutes into Indiana and you can buy all the guns you want. So this is a national epidemic. And it's not just Chicago. It's not just Chirac. It's the boogie down the Bronx. It's Philadelphia. It's happening in Baltimore, Murderland.
We have it here in New Haven, Connecticut.
Yes. So this is something that we as a people, as Americans, have to say enough is enough. And again, a lot of times people misinterpret thinking, well, we're talking about infringement of the Second Amendment. Not at all. When you have young Americans who are in elementary school and they look to the left, look to the right, and their fellow classmates who sit there, 8, 9 years old, and you go into their funeral. I mean, Chicago's off the hook. It's just, I mean, people think I'm not hating on Chicago. I care about Chicago. That's why I made that film. Steve, you gonna say something?
You made the film, and I deeply appreciate you doing so. And Skip, I can't thank you enough for bringing that up. This is not a question. This is a statement. I'm going to say it. I said it the other day on my radio show. I'm going to say it again. Look, God bless the kid that fell into, in the zoo with the gorilla.
Yes.
Thank God that kid is safe. We certainly are thankful and prayerful that no harm came to that kid. But I watched news outlet after news outlet.
Shameful.
Just putting that story plastered all over the place all day long. And it was at the same time that 69 deaths occurred in the streets of Chicago. It's crazy what is going on, but it's even more alarming that somehow, some way, people haven't stepped up and done something about this. I'm not calling anybody out, but you got a Democratic mayor, you got a Republican governor, and we got a president that's from there, that was a junior senator from there. And bodies are falling all over the place.
Left and right.
Fatalities left and right. And nobody is saying, I'm not going to say nobody's saying anything, because certainly there's a lot of people that's bringing it to attention. You know, it's a pretty sad damn day, Skip, when Bill O'Reilly literally is the one that's bringing up the fact that it's not being talked about enough. Now, I mean, Bill O'Reilly had a segment on the O'Reilly Factor where he's highlighting that it's not being talked about enough.
Yep.
You know something's wrong there. So somebody's got to say something. Somebody's got to do something, because people are dying in the streets of Chicago. And I'm not going to lie to you. It seems like they believe the model citizens who are there, who are suffering by being subjected to this kind of insidious stuff, is talking about how they don't think the world cares. And I don't blame them for feeling that way. Somebody's got to do something.
And the piggyback and what my man said is that you have young kids, you ask them what you want to do with your life, and they say, I want to be alive.
Alive.
Wow.
8, 9 years old, and your wish is to be alive?
And Spike knows this, Skip, and Molly and Skip, there was an incident that happened months ago where a 9-year-old
Trayvon Lee executed in the back of the head.
Was lured to an alley, and they executed a 9-year-old child. And we're hearing more about gorillas than we did about that. And the kid is safe, mind you, because, again, we're thankful for that. But we're hearing more about gorillas than we are about that.
But for me, I equate human life above animals. And I know I'm going to Peter, whoever, they're going to kill me.
I do the same thing.
But
yes,
a human life is the most valuable thing we have. And I think it should be respected like that.
And the irony with all of that, Skip, Molly, and Spike, is this. Because the reason I bring up that juxtaposition is because of this reality. How many times, Spike Lee, as black men, do we walk around where we see folks from our own community who feel so devalued, where we feel like we're not as important as others? This last week, there are black folks in Chicago who feel less important than a gorilla. That's the reality.
Let me just add, it was 69 shootings, 6 deaths. Just so we just have the stats.
69 shootings, 6
deaths. Yep.
Okay,
Yes.
I'm going to ask you both. This is an extremely complex problem.
Yes.
But I'll start with Spike. What's the first step in your eyes toward a solution to this?
Well, it's very complicated. We need jobs. People have to be employed. Better schools. We got to talk about the police in Chicago. Let's not leave them out. They're under review by the federal government right now. So it's like the worst disaster movie I could ever write. You know, it's sad. And you could feel the negative energy. We're not talking about all of Chicago now. We're not talking about downtown north side. We're talking about the south side and the west side of Chicago.
Okay.
And people feel they don't feel people care. And if you don't love yourself, you can't love somebody else. And just a hope. You have young brothers growing up there who don't care. They're okay if they don't live past the year 18 years old, and they're okay with it.
Stephen A.
Let me chime in. There is no doubt that this a level of responsibility that we have to take upon ourselves as a black community. We have to look at ourselves. We have to do better as individuals, as family members, as members of a community.
Fathers too.
Especially fathers, absolutely. I'm a father, you're a father, there's no doubt about that. The fact of the matter is nobody is trying to shirk responsibility from that at all. But you don't also escape the reality that on far too many occasions, once again, we have another example of black individuals feeling completely devalued, minimized, and flat out ostracized from everyday society. That has to be addressed because as a nation, we are only as strong as our weakest link. We see enough evidence in our society where those who have nothing to lose will make life every bit as chaotic for you within their power as it is for themselves if we're not careful. So as a community, we got to step up. As a nation, we got to step up. Our political leaders have got to step up. And
police
listen,
forces.
I love our president. But you are the former junior senator from Chicago. Say something. Rahm Emanuel is your former chief of staff. He's the mayor. Do something. The Republican governor, do something.
He's cutting everything
black
out.
folks. Hold on, Spike Lee. You got these black folks that showed up on Bill O'Reilly's show the other day. Made a valid point, and let's give respect to Bill O'Reilly. The man basically called for the National Guard to enter Chicago, and you've got black folks in Chicago that are literally asking for the National Guard to come in to stop murders. And somehow, some way, that story is second fiddle to a gorilla. I mean, you've got to be kidding me, man. You've got to be kidding me. Seriously.
Yeah, and how about the sick out in Detroit as well? 94 public schools closed.
Let's not talk about the war in Flint, Michigan either.
Yeah.
How about that?
That's another
The
story.
war in Flint, Michigan, the crime in Detroit, Chicago, murders, Philly, murders, but especially Chicago. I mean, 69 murders over Memorial Day weekend?
No,
Shootings.
Shootings, I'm sorry.
69
I
shootings, 6
apologize.
deaths.
Not murders, shootings. I apologize.
Thank you for making the film. You guys want to switch gears to hoops here? Do we have time?
That's a
like it?
big switch.
Sorry.
This is a
Taking
big
a hard left turn.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Okay. You want to go? Want to start with the Knicks, or you?
No, just what's your view of your new coach? Do you have any feel for him? Do you have any hope?
I love the move.
Yep.
I mean, there was going to be a hellstorm if it was somebody else, but I still have trust in.
Look at his face.
Love? What are you talking about?
You don't like the Hornacek move?
I'm not saying that I don't like it. I don't know. What has he done? I don't know. Love? Well, what do you love?
Who'd you want Phil to pick?
Mark Jackson or Tom Thibodeau?
I love those picks too, but it didn't happen.
And Phil didn't even take Tom Thibodeau's call, and he never called Mark Jackson.
True. You got to get Phil Jackson. I can't stand in for Phil Jackson on this show. You got to get him here.
I agree.
He ain't trying to come in that hot seat, bro. He knows.
All right. Spike, we wish we had more time with you.
All right.
But your latest film, Two Fists Up, part of it will air at 6 o'clock tonight on SportsCenter.
Right.
And then the film in its entirety, 1
60
hour,
minutes.
is on theundefeated.com. So
Undefeated.com.
people can check that out. And obviously, Chirac.
Proud of you, bro. Keep it up.
Hey, we appreciate all the
Thank you.
messages you send.
Thank you. And I just got to say, I'm not like these old heads. I love the Golden State Warriors. They have revolutionized the game. I've never seen basketball like this before in my life.
Ditto.
Spike, thanks so much. We appreciate you.
Thank you.
More basketball coming this way on First Take. We will have Caron Butler in the house, and we'll get into all of it when we come back. Stay here.
I be rolling with the squad, we be going so hard like